Benito Mussolini was an Italian politician and journalist who was the leader of the National Fascist Party. He ruled Italy as prime minister from 1922 to 1943. He constitutionally led the country until 1925, when he dropped the pretense of democracy and established a dictatorship. Known as Il Duce, Mussolini was the founder of Italian fascism. In 1912, Mussolini had been a leading member of the National Directorate of the Italian Socialist Party, but was expelled from the SI for advocating military intervention in World War I, in opposition to the party's stance on neutrality. Mussolini served in the Royal Italian Army during the war until he was wounded and discharged in 1917. Mussolini denounced the SI, his views now centering on nationalism instead of socialism, and later founded the fascist movement, which came to a conflict, instead advocating revolutionary nationalism transcending class lines. Following the March on Rome in October 1922, Mussolini became the youngest prime minister in Italian history until the appointment of Matteo Renzi in February 2014. After removing all political opposition through his secret police and outlawing labor strikes, Mussolini and his followers consolidated their power through a series of laws that transformed the nation into a one-party dictatorship. Mussolini had established dictatorial authority by both legal and extraordinary means and aspired to create a totalitarian state. Mussolini remained in power until he was deposed by King Victor Emmanuel III in 1943, but a few months later he became the leader of the Italian Social Republic, a German client regime in northern Italy. Mussolini held this post until his death in 1945. Mussolini had sought to delay a major war in Europe until at least 1942, but Germany invaded 1939. This resulted in declarations of war by France and the UK and the start of World War II. On 10 June 1940, with the fall of France imminent, Italy officially entered the war on the side of Germany, though he was aware that Italy did not have the military capacity and resources to carry out a long war with the British Empire. Mussolini believed that after the imminent French armistice, Italy could gain territorial concessions from France, and then he could concentrate his forces on a major offensive in North Africa, where British and Commonwealth forces were outnumbered by Italian forces. However, the British government refused to accept proposals for a peace that would involve accepting Axis victories in Eastern and Western Europe. Plans for an invasion of the UK did not proceed, and the war continued. In the summer of 1941, Mussolini sent Italian forces to participate in the invasion of the Soviet Union, and Italy declared war on the United States in December. In 1940, suffered one disaster after another. By February, the Red Army had completely destroyed the Italian army in Russia. May saw the collapse of the Axis in North Africa. On 9 July, the Allies invaded Sicily, and by the 16th it became clear the German summer offensive in the USSR had failed. As a consequence, early on 25 July, the Grand Council of Fascism passed a motion of no confidence for Mussolini, later that day appointing Pietro Badoglio to succeed him as prime minister. On 12 September 1943, Mussolini was rescued from captivity in the Grand Sasso raid by German paratroopers and Waffen-SS commandos led by Major Otto Harald Moors. Adolf Hitler, after meeting with the rescued former dictator, then put Mussolini in charge of a puppet regime in northern Italy, the Italian Social Republic, and formerly known as the Salo Republic. Near total defeat, Mussolini and his mistress Clara Petacci attempted to flee to Switzerland, but both were captured by Italian communist partisans and summarily executed by firing squad on 28 April 1945 near Lake Como. His body was then taken to Milan, where it was hung upside down at a service station to publicly confirm his demise.